Angel Reese, she might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating. What is this back injury? What's going on? Hey, are you trying to pretend like you hurt because Caitlin Clark really is hurt? Wait. What's going on? What?
The WNBA world is absolutely on fire right now, and Angel Reese might have just been caught red-handed in the most embarrassing way possible. What started as whispers about a mysterious back injury has exploded into a full-blown scandal that's making fans question everything they thought they knew about the Chicago Sky's supposed star. While Caitlin Clark continues to dominate headlines for her incredible performances and unwavering dedication, Angel Reese has seemingly vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but excuses, silence, and a trail of abandoned seasons that's starting to look like a disturbing pattern. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Just 2 minutes ago, new information surfaced that's got the entire basketball...
And I'm say this with my chest out. I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky. She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day to day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing. There's no information about Angel Reese. I think she's quit on this season.
Community questioning whether Angel Reese has been playing fans for fools this entire time. Her reaction to the mounting criticism has been nothing short of hilarious, and it's proving exactly what skeptics have been saying all along. She's no Caitlin Clark, not even close. Let's dive deep into this unfolding drama that's shaking the foundation of women's basketball and exposing what might be the most calculated brand protection scheme we've ever seen in professional sports. The story begins with what should have been a routine injury report. Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie and face of the Chicago Sky, suddenly developed a mysterious back injury.
In the WNBA right now is Angel Reese and her dozens of aliases. Has anyone seen Bayou Barbie lately? Where in the hell is Double Double Barbie? Where is the me-bound clown? It has been weeks since I have heard anything about Angel Reese. She's becoming known as the Vanishing Barbie because no one can find
that has kept her sidelined for weeks. But here's where things get fishy. In 3 weeks, she's only managed to play 3 games, and every single one of those games ended in absolute disaster for Chicago. We're talking blowout losses, with an average margin of defeat sitting at a brutal 18 points. Then, like magic, poof, she's gone. The timing couldn't be more suspicious if it was scripted for a soap opera. The Chicago Sky have been in complete freefall since June, looking less like a professional basketball team and more like a recreational league squad that wandered onto the wrong court. They've shown no answers, no adjustments, no sense of urgency, and
supposedly, Angel Reese has been dealing with a back injury. That is the official reason for her mysterious absence. But there has been rampant speculation that this back injury isn't as serious as Angel Reese claims. And some believe that Angel Reese has quit on her team and quit on the season.
Absolutely zero fight. And right when the losses started piling up like a car crash in slow motion, Angel Reese suddenly discovers she has a back problem that requires her immediate and indefinite absence from basketball activities. But here's what's driving fans absolutely insane: the complete lack of transparency surrounding this so-called injury. Every single day, we hear the same robotic response from the Chicago Sky organization. Angel Reese is day-to-day. Day-to-day for what?
She just stopped playing in Unrivaled. Said she was hurt, didn't show up for the championship game, didn't even show up and watch. Last season, she claimed her wrist was messed up, didn't finish playing in none of the games. Now, this year, she's saying this season, it's her back. It looked like she's not finishing playing in none of the games. The Sky needs you. The Chicago Sky, you guys are the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. They need Angel Reese to play in games. Angel, where you at?
Nobody knows. Day to day with what specific injury? Nobody's telling. Day to day with what kind of recovery timeline? Complete silence. It's like the entire organization has been programmed to give the most vague, meaningless update possible, while revealing absolutely nothing of substance. Compare this to how real professional sports organizations handle injuries, and the contrast is staggering. When a legitimate athlete gets hurt, you hear specifics immediately. Ankle sprain, grade 2. Hamstring pull, 2 to 3 weeks. Concussion protocol, day-to-day evaluation. There are medical reports.
4 weeks. Angel Reese has played 3 games. I'm no expert in math, but that appears to be less than 1 game a week. Unsurprisingly, all 3 games Angel Reese played in, the Chicago Bravado lost by an average of 18 points. Translation?
Reports, injury timelines, recovery updates, and transparent communication with the fan base. But with Angel Reese, we get nothing but the same 2 words repeated like a broken record player stuck on the world's most boring song. And here's where the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. This isn't Angel Reese's first rodeo with mysterious disappearances when things get tough. Last season, when her performance started declining and it became clear that Caitlin Clark was running away with Rookie of the Year honors, Angel suddenly developed...
play games with their own supporters.
Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day to day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
A wrist injury that conveniently sidelined her for the remainder of the season. She threw in the towel, claimed her wrist was hurting, and disappeared from competitive basketball when the spotlight got too hot. But wait, it gets even better. During the inaugural season of Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 basketball league that was supposed to showcase elite women's basketball talent, Angel Reese pulled the exact same vanishing act. She didn't just quit.
Now, everybody's wondering, what is really going on with Angel Reese? Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you gotta be, you have to have some level of self-awareness.
Mid-season, she didn't even show up for the championship game. Not to play, not to support her teammates, not even to watch from the sidelines. She completely ghosted the entire league when it mattered most, leaving fans and teammates wondering where their supposed star had disappeared to. Now we're looking at a 3rd straight season where Angel Reese has mysteriously stopped playing when situations become challenging. 3 different leagues.
Once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard, early in the year, and once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not going to win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume. I'm going to have an excuse for the Chicago Sky potentially coming in with the worst or second worst record in the WNBA. These losses will not be...
3 different seasons, 3 different excuses, but the exact same pattern of behavior. It's starting to look less like a series of unfortunate injuries and more like a calculated strategy to protect her personal brand at the expense of team commitments and fan loyalty. The statistical evidence paints an even grimmer picture of what's really happening in Chicago. The Sky are sitting at an absolute...
Reese has quit on the season. The Bravado are 8-24. They were essentially eliminated from the playoffs back in June. I'm sure Angel Reese believes that there's no reason for her to play, but I think it could be
a miserable 8 wins and 24 losses. A record so bad it's embarrassing to professional basketball. They were mathematically eliminated from playoff contention all the way back in June, which means they've been playing meaningless games for months while their supposed franchise player watches from wherever she's been hiding. In the last 4 weeks, Angel Reese has appeared in exactly 3 games out of a possible 12 or more. That's less than 1 game per week for someone who's supposed to be the cornerstone of the franchise. And here's the kicker. In those 3 games she did manage to play, the Chicago Sky got absolutely demolished every single time. These weren't close losses or competitive games where she showed leadership and fight. These were blowout defeats that left fans wondering if they were watching professional basketball or a practice scrimmage gone horribly wrong. The timing of her disappearance becomes even more suspicious when you consider what was happening.
If Angel Reese is in no rush to return because she doesn't want to be blamed for declining mainstream interest in the WNBA. We've been talking about this the past couple of weeks. What are the biggest storylines right now in the WNBA? Outside of AA batteries flying on the court, gift wrapped in plastic wiener, what is there to talk about? Since Caitlin Clark has been injured, which has damn near been the entire season, but mainly since the All-Star break, there has been minimal
in the broader WNBA landscape. The league's ratings have been in decline since the All-Star break, with mainstream interest dropping significantly from the early season highs. The buzz that felt unstoppable just a few months ago has cooled considerably, and the WNBA's momentum has stalled in ways that have league executives genuinely worried. Here's where Angel Reese's absence becomes strategically convenient. By staying on the sidelines with a mysterious injury that nobody can verify or disprove, she avoids being associated with the league's declining ratings and diminished mainstream interest. The narrative stays focused on her brand moves.
Felines played the Chicago Bravado in prime time on ABC. They drew 1.3 million viewers. It was the least watched game between these two teams since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese entered the league. Guess who would have been blamed for these ratings if she was playing last weekend? Angel Reese. Guess who would be blamed for the declining mainstream interest the last few weeks if she was on the court?
Her social media presence and her off-court business ventures, instead of empty statistics and disappointing performances on the basketball court. Speaking of her off-court activities, this is where the story gets absolutely ridiculous. While Angel Reese has been too injured to play basketball, she's somehow been perfectly healthy enough to travel across the country for marketing opportunities and promotional events. She made a highly publicized trip to Indianapolis, not to play against the Indiana Fever in what fans desperately wanted to see as a marquee matchup, but to promote her new Reebok sneaker deal. The audacity was breathtaking. She showed up in Caitlin Clark's backyard, dropped that infamous line about taking over Caitlin Clark's trap, posed for photos, shook hands with fans, and hyped her upcoming shoe release like it was the second coming of the Jordan brand. She even had the hilarious confidence to suggest that her sneakers would one day be mentioned in the same breath as Michael Jordan's iconic footwear legacy. All of this while being too injured to actually play the sport that's supposed to justify her celebrity status. But here's where the optics become absolutely damaging to her credibility. A few weeks later, Angel Reese miraculously recovered.
Agreed to play against Washington is because her grandmother was in attendance, and it was the first time grandma would see her granddaughter clap back at the haters in the WNBA.
From her back injury for exactly one game, the game where her grandmother was in attendance. Funny how that back suddenly healed just in time for a family photo opportunity and some positive publicity. She suited up, played one game for grandma's benefit, then immediately returned to her mysterious day-to-day injury status as soon as the cameras stopped rolling. Meanwhile, the contrast with Caitlin Clark couldn't be more stark or embarrassing for Angel Reese. When Caitlin Clark deals
is the back injury. Everybody's questioning it now, and this will be a third straight season where Angel Reese did not finish playing in games, where she just stopped. She just stopped. Some of these injuries, we saw the injuries. We didn't see what happened. What happened?
With injuries, the Indiana Fever immediately provides transparent updates to fans. They explain exactly what's wrong, how severe the issue is, what the recovery timeline looks like, and when fans can expect her return. There's professionalism, accountability, and respect for the fan base that keeps the league alive. Even when Caitlin Clark is dealing with bumps and bruises, she finds ways to stay connected with her supporters. She's courtside signing autographs, interacting with young fans, giving interviews, and making it clear that she values the people who invest their time and money in women's basketball. Her commitment to the sport and her fans never wavers, even when her body is telling her to rest. The head-to-head comparison becomes even more brutal.
Not understand is that coaches, and I know the WNBA in some regards isn't a real sports league, and I don't know if they think like real coaches and real people in sports, but the number one ability is availability. If you're not available,
When you look at the actual results on the basketball court, this season, the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky have faced off multiple times, and the results have been nothing short of domination. Indiana has walked away with victories in 4 straight meetings, turning what was supposed to be a competitive rivalry into a one-sided beatdown that highlights everything wrong with Angel Reese's approach to professional basketball. These aren't close games where both stars are trading baskets and creating memorable moments for fans. These are systematic demolitions where one team shows up ready to compete while the other looks completely unprepared and overmatched. And increasingly, the games where Angel Reese is mysteriously absent are the ones that draw the most attention and scrutiny from basketball fans who want to see legitimate competition between elite athletes. The media narrative around both players has solidified in ways that might be impossible for Angel Reese to reverse. Caitlin Clark has become synonymous with dedication, professionalism, and fighting through adversity. She's viewed as the player who refuses to quit even...
You quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realize you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realize your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realize it was done, you threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
When her body is battered and her team is struggling. Angel Reese, on the other hand, is building a reputation as someone who checks out when situations become uncomfortable or challenging. That reputation is starting to follow her everywhere she goes in professional basketball. Fans are connecting the dots between her prolonged absences, her team's collapse, and the league's declining ratings. They're starting to believe that her mysterious injuries aren't just hurting the Chicago Sky's box scores. They're eroding the trust that fans place in the WNBA itself. Every day that Angel Reese remains on the day-to-day list with no real answers or updates, the league looks less professional and more like an organization that can't get its marquee stars on the court or maintain consistent messaging with its fan base. In a sport where trust and transparency are absolutely everything for building a sustainable audience, this kind of confusion and speculation is potentially fatal to long-term growth. The core principle that seems to be lost in all of this drama is simple but crucial. The number one ability in professional sports is availability. If you're not available to compete when your team and your fans need you most, then your value as a professional athlete becomes questionable regardless of your talent level or social media following. Angel Reese's pattern of unavailability across multiple seasons and different leagues is starting to look like a fundamental character issue rather than a series of unfortunate medical situations. Professional sports organizations invest millions of dollars in athletes with the expectation that those athletes will show up and compete when it matters most. When that expectation is repeatedly violated, it creates problems that extend far beyond individual statistics or team records. The broader implications for the WNBA are genuinely concerning for anyone who cares about the long-term success of women's professional basketball. The league is still fighting for mainstream credibility and sustainable fan interest. When marquee players disappear during